Hey y'all, we are back going to play some Helldivers and also talk about Helldivers, about the new mech bond coming out, the exosuit bond coming out tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
There was some things that happened online and we wanted to just touch on it. We're not professionals by any means. I'm Atomic Dreamer
Oh, I'm Rankard.
and come fight some automatons with us and talk about Helldivers.
Well, it's not really that anything crazy happened. It's just Palstat had an AMA, which is and
Like
ask me
a
anything.
questions.
Yeah, a bunch of
Yeah.
questions. He kind of walked into the lion's den, so to say.
Yeah, he did it on the Reddit that is unmonitored, right?
The unfiltered Reddit for Helldivers, because there's the
Unfiltered.
Helldivers Reddit and there's the unfiltered Reddit.
The gentleman from Arrowhead, what's his name again?
Palstat. I think that's how
Kyle
you say his
said.
name.
He asked if anyone had any questions for him, and he, wanted you guys to everyone to stay kind of civil, and whoever got the most upvotes, he would try and answer questions. Um, so what did you take away from this?
So, again, I didn't really read every question and every answer. And in the ones that I did read, I kind of, obviously did an eye roll at, especially in the first day, because it took a couple of days for him to go through all the questions. And initially, he only answered like 4 questions on the first day. And then after that, he came back after a day or so and then answered more questions, and then sort of kind of just shut it down at the end of it, feeling like he had gotten whatever he was going to get out of it. And initially, it was very corporate response and stuff like that,
Like,
like things like people were asking kind of like, hey, why did old gear, like whatever, why is it like kind of left to the wayside and not really updated? And when your first answer is, oh well, it's because the game's big. Okay, well, if the game is big, why are you adding new stuff to it that you're already on a game you're already not fixing stuff on? Like, kind of just
so it was kind of like he was saying, they were asking, why haven't you improved equipment we already have? And he basically said, because there's too much equipment. And then now our question is, well, then why do you keep adding more equipment if you're not going to better the stuff we already have? Is that kind of the idea? Yeah.
well, that was, I mean, well, that's not the idea. That's kind of the gist of what he said. It's like, so, like,
Yeah.
for instance, the sterilizer is a gas weapon stratagem that is completely useless. Like, it does nothing in comparison to the other gas stratagems. Like, gas grenades are better, the gas mortar's better, the gas, like,
Dude,
dog
I've
is
seen a
better.
charger like attack their own people with a gas grenade. That's so great.
Mm-hmm. Well, the gas effect, that's what it does, is it confuses them and they'll turn and do that. But the sterilizer does basically no damage. The effect of the gas lasts for like literally no time at all. And because of those things, it's basically useless. It's one of those things that becomes like a, well, I mean, you can use it, but everything else you can do is better. Um,
So what would be your idea of a fix for the
I don't
sterilizer?
I
You
don't
don't
have
know?
an idea that's not something that someone's already said, and which one of the things that
Yeah.
people have said is actually really useful. So you could turn it into like the acid rain effect. I don't know if you've ever paid
Ooh,
attention to it, but when we're on a planet
I
that does
have.
acid rain, it
Yeah.
makes your armor uh, like basically lower. It lowers your armor by it raining on you. And
Right.
so what people have suggested, and I think is a really good idea, is that you could have it to where if you spray things with the sterilizer, that um, you could like lower its armor 1 or 2 ranks or whatever. So take like a Hulk for example. Its chest armor is heavy armor, or yeah, it's pretty high heavy armor. So by dropping its armor, you could go from requiring heavy weapons to penetrate its chest armor that you could use like a, a primary that's medium pen to penetrate its chest armor and stuff like that. So that could be an interesting
Okay.
mechanic if they did something like that. But that's just some of the suggestions that people are offering. And it's
And
go ahead.
one of the first people that he responded, or one of the first guys that questioned, that was one of the ones that he responded to, was from, it looks like, Fit Difference.
Well, that was
2955, right?
probably day 2.
Day
Those
2,
were not in
okay.
order that I sent to you, like,
Oh,
necessarily.
okay. Well, the one I'm looking at right now, he was talking about the weapon customization,
Hmm.
and expansions of armor customization, which is one of the things I wanted to talk about, because if I were going to change anything, I would I'm kind of about aesthetics, and I would love to be able to wear the armor that I think is cool looking, um, while also wearing underneath, kinda like vanity. So, like, underneath, I wear the stuff like, the skilled armor that I want, and then have, like, a vanity armor over top. That was
Yeah,
the thing I
transmog,
really wanted. Or,
basically
like, the
transmog.
color would be cool. That
Yeah.
was one of the things he talked about.
Well, then, in regards to that, what was basically said back in regards to it? Did you get that part? You looking at
Um,
it?
I mean, you can go ahead and tell me what it said because I can't scroll down while I'm playing Helldivers.
He was basically saying that armor, from the gist of what I got, was armor wasn't supposed to have like all of these crazy perks and be all of this crazy different stuff, and it kind of
Okay.
evolved that way over time. At least that's the gist of what I got from it. But like,
Oh,
but where other people are getting problems for it, and I've seen it myself, and I've kind of rolled my eyes at it, like they there's a problem in the game, and it's done by either balancing or changes or whatever it is that Arrowhead decides to do. Like, for example, at one point in time they decided, well, the bleed effect is not powerful enough because it was set at 1, right? So if you took a bleed effect to the chest, you would take 1 damage per tick. And if you had the um, damage reduction booster on, which you're going to because it's one of the best boosters in the game,
right.
you basically took no damage. And so it became a non existent effect that you had to worry about. So what they did was they cranked it up from 1 to 10. So they made it 10 times more powerful than it was previously. And so right at the same time that they put out the Force of Law War Bond, which gave you a chest piece that completely nullifies hemorrhaging in the chest so you can't bleed from your chest. So they made an effect 10 times worse than it was before to make it an effect you actually had to care about. And then they sold you a war bond that completely nullified that thing that they just did. Which,
Okay.
so immediately people are like, okay, so are you creating problems and selling us solutions? That's just problem 1. And then you go further down the list and you look at people have been complaining about ragdolls from playing on bots. Like, we're on bots right now. There's a lot of explosion effects that will
Mhm.
bleed through terrain. So like on my footage right now, I'm next to this piece of terrain, and if an explosion happened on the other side of this terrain, like in this area, then it could bleed through the terrain and hit me, ragdoll me, and then depending upon the type of ragdoll, how strong it was, I now no longer have control of my character, and like I'm probably going to die from some other effect that I wasn't prepared for. And
Right.
to fix that, I believe it was the um, Python Commandos Warbond gave you a armor that minimized the amount of ragdolling that you
So
would have happen to you.
Mhm.
Which people are like, okay, so again, you made a problem, you sold us the solution to that problem instead of just fixing the problem that we asked you to fix in the first place.
Wasn't there something to do with, the fire too?
Yeah, people have been complaining about fire for a long time. That fire, so there's bugs in the game related to fire, like how quickly it applies, how uh, so there's a host non-host bug. So like I'm the host of this game because I'm the one you came to my ship. So
Right.
if I were to take a flamethrower out and flamethrower the ground, then the ground would catch on fire, and then enemies running through it would catch on fire. Whereas if, as the non-host, you did that, there were time frames when it literally would not apply the fire effect to the enemy, so nothing would happen, and they would just run
Right.
through it as if it was just regular ground. Or you just couldn't apply fire effect at all, like for whatever reason it was causing it to happen. And so there's issues with fire effects not happening and stuff like that. And in most cases, and most enemies, supplies are here. If you shoot an enemy with fire, like a flamethrower, they don't want to run through it because that's detrimental to their health and they don't want to die. But for some reason, in Helldivers, the enemies are either have no self-preservation skills or are stupid, and they just run through the fire and die, and which doesn't make logical sense. If you're trying to make a game
Right.
that is tactically sound and they all of these tactical shooter elements to it, you would have enemies that are intelligent enough not to do that thing. Well, they do, and so it's like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. Um, so people were like, well, why don't you just have the fire like make them scared? Because like that would make sense, or they try to avoid it entirely. Well,
Mhm.
so they did that right as they did the trench division, which has the primary weapon that I'm using right now, which is the Stoker, which has a flamethrower under barrel on the weapon, and has a giant backpack flamethrower. And so you change the effects of fire right before you sell us a war bond that it's kind of focused around. Oh, I died. And so it's but that's kind of where people are getting mad. That's where the focal point of the conversation is. And the mech warbond I think was like kind of this is kind of like the tipping point. This is kind of like that straw that broke the camel's back sort of saying like, all right, we've said enough, we've had enough. Again, I haven't played this game as long as other people have. And so there's people that are like really mad about this, which rightfully so. If you buy into a product, you buy into an environment that you enjoy, and you see that what you feel is mismanagement or misplaced uh, critiques or review, then you're going to say
Mhm.
something. You're going to eventually get fed up. Like if I went to a restaurant and every time I went to that restaurant, I just got progressively worse service, I'd eventually stop
Yeah.
going. Like it could be one time, it could be two or three times or whatever. Eventually, I'd stop going. That restaurant eventually closes
Right.
down. People don't want Helldivers to close down, you know?
No, we like Helldivers.
Yeah.
And it's not that we like don't like the devs or something like that. It's that um we feel like maybe the communication could be better. There's things that we would like to see, and they've made some when he responded to these, he did talk about quite often. It's a big company. There's what did he say? Something like 300 employees now, and everyone has a different vision. And that was kind of, I
Well,
felt like that was a little bit of a cop out, but
but even with that, like, so say that is the case, right?
right,
Um, then someone that's in management needs to pull up their big boy pants and tell people
that's
how
right,
it's going to be. Hey, yeah, you might have an idea here and there, but that's not what we're doing because, I'm the one that's in charge of the creative direction of this game for whatever it is that you're doing. Someone needs to put their big boy pants on and tell people what to do because, I don't know, it's their
right,
job. And I'm the person that plays the game. I'm the person that buys the product that they're offering. I don't care how you get to the point that your game is in the state that I like. I'm just going to tell you what I don't like about it. And either you're going to fix it or you're not. And if you don't fix it, and I feel like you're either slapping me in the face, ignoring me as a customer, or whatever, I'm going to go on bigger, better things that I think is more appropriate for my time. And that's what happens. That's why the player base, like the consistent numbers of players spikes up and down all the time. It's this whole, oh my god, we're so over, oh my god, we're so back concept of like, no, they didn't listen to us. Oh, they finally listened to us, and it's this weird yo-yo, and it's because of,
yeah.
and it's all it could be entirely perception based. It could be a
Well, yeah, I mean,
misunder.
I feel like every game has its ups and downs like
Mm-hmm.
that. Well, and it is almost like a living creature in and of itself because so many people are working on it. We don't know all the nuance, and to play devil's advocate a little bit, it probably is a tough thing to make a game. I mean, I don't really know much about it, so I can't really say from personal experience how games are made.
I mean, but even then, if like for instance, I'm making a game, and I go, all right, I'm gonna make this super cool game that has factor X, Y, and Z, and then I realize that the factor X out of the X, Y, and Z just doesn't work for the community of people. The lion's share of my players suddenly go, no, whatever this is, it just doesn't work,
You don't like it, yeah.
or yeah, or whatever whatever it was we were trying to do in the game just ended up just not jiving, then why keep trying to do it? Like, why keep trying to put
Right.
the square peg in the circle hole? Like, what are you
Well,
doing?
yeah, and we've seen that with other games like 7 Days to Die
Yep.
had some
Mm-hmm.
issues and,
Still
um,
does, but yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, but yeah, but that's kind of like what happens. You get a, I mean, and what you might have intended to be the ultimate goal of your game might end up just not being what like the people want from your game. And so sometimes you
Yeah.
kind of suck it up a little bit. Like, and again, I don't work with game development. I don't work in a corporation that makes millions upon tens of millions of dollars for selling
Right.
games. So I don't know how all these conversations work in like a board meeting or anything. I don't care. I don't have to know all that, and nor do I have to be told how it works and be given some sort of sob story why it's difficult to do that. It's your job. Like, just plain and simple, buddy bunker right here at this location.
Okay, I'm way across the map.
It's close to extract. We can get on our way out. Um, I don't have to. I'm a customer. If I tell you the food is bad, it's your job to decide what's wrong and how to fix it. And if enough people tell you that the food is bad, um, then maybe you should reevaluate how you're making the food or what food you're offering. Is all I'm saying. Like, and again, I don't have necessarily a problem with like war bonds outside of a couple elements to it. Like, when it comes to war bonds, there's too many. Like right now, like I think
Mhm.
Tuesday, like tomorrow, there's gonna be like 24
24.
war
Mhm.
bonds. As a new
Well, and
player,
yeah, I was gonna say.
how do you even address that? How do you even understand what's happening?
Well,
Like,
I remember when I joined, which I mean, I'm level, what, 50 now?
yeah, 50
Um,
something.
when I joined, I was completely overwhelmed and had no idea what to pick. And, I mean, I remember I had to have you help me try and figure out what I would think was fun, you know?
Well, I mean,
So,
it's you get to see the picture, like for instance, like you get to see the little video that they put out for each of the little like different weapons and stuff like that. But like you see a war bond, you go, oh, that war bond's gonna be great. Like, say you get like the gas one and you get the sterilizer, and you're like, oh, that'd be cool. I want to be over there with that big gas mask and like gas the enemies and do all. And you get the sterilizer, and you realize the sterilizer is dog water.
garbage.
It's just trash. And like, but so then you now have like buyer's remorse, and there's just a whole avenue to it, and
Mhm.
you wouldn't even know which ones are good without going to a YouTuber and watching it, because
Right.
like the statistics that they give you in the game are only part of the equation. There's so many hidden stats that you don't even know. That,
Right.
to be fair, in our little group of people that play, I know more about it than you guys. I still don't necessarily understand all of it, but I know more about it than you guys. I know what weapons are effective against what enemies for the most part. I know where to shoot
Shit.
most enemies from
I died.
Ion Storm. It'll be a moment.
Okay. That's fine.
Um, So I know what's relatively good and relatively bad and where to shoot it and how to engage it and things of that nature.
Mhm.
And I just understand slightly more mechanical operations of the game. But if you don't watch
But
a
even that
YouTuber,
being said, we're not like
no,
crazy gamer
less
people. We just play
slightly
'cause we
less
have
than
fun.
yeah, slightly less than 400 hours in this game. There are people that have like 2600
Thousands.
hours and have
Yeah.
so much more knowledge of the game and how it functions and all that stuff. And those are the people that like do build videos like here's how you use this weapon. This is what this weapon is effective against. But there's no
Right.
in-game encyclopedia of the weapons. You have bare bones information. And again, there's a bunch of stats that are hidden that if it wasn't for data miners, we wouldn't even understand how these things work or why it's now a problem when we,
Well,
you
and
know,
I feel like that circles back around to the communication issue. I find that if a developer, and my example is actually going to be Stardew Valley, he's a one team dude as far as I know. And he made Stardew Valley and he still puts out stuff all the time for it, but he has this other game in that's been in progress called Haunted Chocolatier for years now. And his fans don't leave him and are like still encouraging him because he gives regular updates. And I feel like if the communication is there and you're, letting people know the progress and what's going on, that really goes a long way. And I feel like the Helldiver devs have not been really. I mean, even the game plan or whatever, what do they call that when they tell you what's coming next? Um, they are kind of vague about it. You know what I mean?
Are you talking about the roadmap that they put
The
out?
Yeah, the roadmap. Yeah, thank
Yeah, it's the
you.
most basic, vague. Like they put in their quality of life updates. Okay, well, what quality of life updates?
Yeah, what is it that we're expecting? Yeah.
If I'm a consumer and I go, all right, there's problem A, and you're going to work on problem B and C and D on this next one, and my biggest problem was problem A. Why am I going to come back if you're not working on problem A? And or if I go, oh, okay, you're doing a quality of life update tomorrow. Okay, well, I'm gonna pop in, see that your quality of life update didn't affect the thing that I had a problem with, so then I'm out. I'm out until you do another quality of life update, which could be, 2 months from now or 3 months from now, whatever it
Right,
is the
right, right,
roadmap
right.
says. And so, but you're not telling us what you're doing. You're not telling us what you're working
No.
on. You're not telling us that the things that we have a problem with or are concerned with are actually on your radar. I mean,
Right.
one of the things that was said in the AMA that was kind of just like saddening was that they don't view, I might be butchering this a little bit, but they don't view weapon customization as a higher priority. They down prioritize it because they, per their metrics that they have access to, like 20% of the player base engaged with it. So because only 20% of the players engaged with it, they're not gonna work on it. Even though technically speaking, if you work on a like that sort of progression system, like weapon customization, armor customization, the things that like people like to dig their teeth into and play with and personalize and whatever, then if you're not doing that because it only affects 20%, well then you're automatically putting the 80% out of it to start with because it's not
You're not
even
even
fleshed.
counting them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not fleshed out enough to justify them coming into it. So um,
Oh,
I don't. I'm
yep,
gonna.
he's in. Hi.
Okay,
Hi.
just
So we're talking about
the AMA and
Helldivers and
everything
the
related around
AMAs that
hell
came
that.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Well, I
don't know
have
if
to
you dive into
say,
it or not. Go ahead.
with the weapon customization, the reason I haven't fully engaged with it, I've only engaged with one gun, is because it's not fleshed out.
Yeah.
And I don't
Which
want to devote time and energy on stuff that isn't fleshed out. I want to put my time and effort into the finished product.
mhm. So it becomes a double-edged sword. You look at a skeleton, and then because you're on the development side and you see all the details, and you go, oh well, only 20% of the people worked with it. One of the reasons they could not want to work with it is what you just said, and so now
Right. So
they get a
now
skewed
are
perception
your
as to
numbers
where the
skewed?
importance is.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, are your numbers even like true? Because like it's just a skeleton. A lot of people maybe glance at it and are like, nope. But if it were fleshed out, how many people would interact with it? And you don't really know until you do it. So I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah. And to only want to, I mean, yes and no, it makes sense, but to only want to engage in things that affect the mass majority of the community, and and push out the percentage of the community that is not as present or vocal or whatever, is silly. Because like, so for if you take the Steam charts for example, which okay, whatever, there's more people playing on whatever platform. All right, well, like, you take the Steam chart, you parallel it next to the companion app that looks as the raw numbers of people logged in. Like 75 or 80% of the people that play this game play on PC. So the Steam chart is a pretty accurate representation of like 80% of the population. So every major update or every major war bond that comes out, the population spikes. And so
Right.
that's the people that they're building stuff for. He literally said, "Yeah, we've been building for novelty," and it's like, yeah, because you're not building for that 20% of people that are here playing the game through thick and thin, through the problems, through the bugs, through the everything, because they enjoy the game. You're catering to the
Yeah.
people that are going to come in, drop $10 on the war bond, play for 5 days, and are gone until you do another war bond. And
Well, yeah.
and that's what causes games to basically peter out, because if the only thing you have for me to grind towards is the next thing I can either pay for or waste game time grinding the materials out for, instead of playing, like, I don't know, a fun campaign and seeing in the
Yeah, and we'll
campaign,
touch on that too.
but like, and so, like, I don't know, like, we can shift over to that if you want to shift to that topic, but it's just kind
So
of silly to me.
another issue that a few people had was the Galactic War is needing improvements, in that um, it's not really super engaging because you don't really get much from it. And I wanted you to talk about what we talked about earlier when we went to Cyberstan, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we can. Did you want to put any more of your 2 cents in on what we were just talking about before we shift
No,
over to that?
I agree with you completely on that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
Um,
go ahead. I'll let you finish out. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
no, it's all right.
Boats here, by the way.
There's
Okay.
there's definitely a need for them to kind of reevaluate what their focus is, and reevaluate what what would engage the 80% into that 20%.
Yeah,
Right.
to be around as
Um,
long as that 20% is.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Well, and another
So
big issue was that there are bugs still around that have been around for a very, very long time, and that is concerning to some players. And can't remember, keep forgetting his name. Pilestead or whatever his name is
Instead,
from Arrowhead.
yeah,
Pilestead. He
it's
was saying,
Swedish, I believe. I believe they're Swedish
okay,
names, so
it's okay.
they're spelled funny, and they're hard to say for us non-Swedish people. So.
yeah.
Yeah. But I guess he was saying something like he's going to talk to the team about that because he definitely hears that, and um,
Yeah,
he would.
I want to cover his outro part of it. I actually think his outro
Sure,
part
of
is
course.
like
Yeah, his outro was good. I did like it.
I liked it. But it started off very rocky, in my opinion, and I think he was being very defensive. Understandably.
His first two responses were a little defensive, but then we also didn't see all of the things he read. I'm sure there were some angry people,
Which is
but
going to be. You're going to
yes,
have
of
angry
course there's
people.
going to
Like,
be. Mhm.
people get passionate about things. Like, I mean,
Well, and that's what he mentioned. He said, "I understand the anger because you are passionate." And that was something I really resonated with for sure.
hmm so. But anything else to add before we switch over to, like, kind of the campaigning aspect of the game and stuff like that?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
So the trip to Cyberstan, that was kind of like the parts about it that really, the reason why people are a little miffed about the war bond being mech focused and their mechs being in the war bond. Right before we went to Cyberstan, like that whole campaign push to go to Cyberstan, they did an update and they were like, increase durable damage from, and then they like had like 8 different enemies. The majority of them are bots. And if you don't know, because you guys don't dig into the like mechanical parts of this game as much as I do, what durable damage is the damage done to like armor. So if you have like armor, and you have, like, so, for instance, our mechs, our FRV, our tank, and our like turrets and stuff like that, they all have a durable damage, like durable armor rating, like a percentage of that. So some of the the NPCs went from 30 durable damage to 100 durable damage. That's not just an increase. That's like tripling their damage output.
Yeah.
So they gave us the Bastion tank as part of the push to Cyberstan, but they also made our enemies do 3 times the amount of damage to literally everything that we use. And so it caused a peripheral effect of, not only do our mechs already feel like paper mache, You made a tank that was so tanky that it had to be kind of nerfed by increasing the damage of the enemies, which also increased the damage to all of our stratagems that we bring in, all of our turrets and the mechs that were already weak to start with, and then threw us into a meat grinder against a bunch of things that do a whole bunch more damage against the stuff we're going to actually take against it. And that
I
was
remember
just...
us playing then and on Cyberstan, and you called in a mech, and before you could even get in it, it was dead.
Yeah, I don't know when that happened. Something happened in the coding somewhere. Something. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but at some point they have changed the targeting mechanics of the things to where we went to Cyberstan. I called a mech in, and there were enemies that were outside the targeting aggression range for my character model, meaning they didn't shoot at me one time. I called a mech in, every single one of them fired at my mech all the way down to the ground, to the point that when it hit the ground, it was already destroyed and I couldn't even get in it.
Yeah, it's in one of our videos. It's pretty crazy.
And then once they destroyed the mech, they didn't even target me because they weren't close enough in range to target me. And I'm like, what just happened? I was taken entirely off guard by it. And so, like, you increase their damage, you cause them to target, like, emplacements and mechs and things of that nature in a way that they weren't before. If that happened, maybe they were, and I just don't use mechs or whatever things enough or in the situations to see it happen. But it just became one of those things of, like, what are you doing? And so, and I believe in past, we're right next to Buddy Bunker, in past updates, they were like, well, we want the mechs to have, because there was an update in the past that was like, we want there to be a sense of vulnerability. Yeah, I'm calling in a big multi-ton walking tank to feel vulnerable. That makes sense, right?
Right.
Like, I feel like I'm kind of crazy here or something, but like, I don't know, like, I get you the premise of the game is that you're not like a super soldier crazy person. You're like kind of like a grunt and like
average Joe.
Well, but we're not though. We're the special forces though.
That's
technically
true, yeah.
speaking, which is kind of the silly part. The Seaf are the grunts. We're the special forces. So I get Seaf having crappy weapons and crappy call-ins and all that stuff, but you want us to be pretending we're like the special forces of that kind of paramilitary force, but yet we don't have like even a mild power fantasy at all, like even a little bit, like.
And that brings me back to the coyote discussion.
Oh, the coyote discussion.
So the coyote, I really enjoy the coyote, and we basically were like, the more you play something that you love, the running joke is they're going to nerf it. And so we were like, please don't nerf the coyote, please don't nerf the coyote, and then you can go from there.
Well, they confirmed that in this AMA that's what they do. They nerf, they balance based off of a usage rate, which is ridiculous. So if something's on a really low usage rate, it doesn't get looked at, but stuff on a really high usage rate gets looked at because it's used too much. I don't know if that's exactly how they do it, but that's kind of what it seems like. So the coyote it came out of a war bond, and it is a assault rifle that has an aesthetic look that people like. It looks kind of like an AK. It has a really good fire pattern. It does decent damage in and of itself when it shoots. It's medium penetration, which a lot of people enjoy, and it can set things on fire. Well, when it first came out, you could, if you really want it to mid-max, there are people that have certain playstyles that they enjoy, and one of the playstyles was you could change it to semi-mode, and you could just one-shot an enemy. It was guaranteed to set the enemy on fire. You would do the ballistics damage you do when you shoot, and then it does the full 100 fire damage over the course of the fire duration. And you could just keep doing that and do some pretty good damage output that way. Apparently, the devs decided that kind of fun is not allowed. And I don't know. Again, I don't. Oh god, my freaking drone is shooting you again. It's being dumb. I don't know why they didn't like that mechanic. I guess they were saying that because you could do that with the Coyote, it made other fire weapons like the Cookout shotgun less effective because you couldn't necessarily do that with a Cookout. And I'm like, okay, but who cares? Like if. And so where the problem came in was that they did a video on that patch that the Coyote got nerfed, and what they did was they made a big show of looking at their little documentation that they had going, well, we didn't nerf the Coyote. Everyone was worried we would nerf the Coyote. We didn't nerf the Coyote. What they did do was they changed how fire is applied to enemies. And so then what it did by doing that was cause the Coyote to require 2 shots to light people on fire. Cool. Who cares? Like, right? It's not that big of a change. It's not that big a deal. But they made a big show of saying that they didn't nerf the Coyote, which technically they didn't. But what they did do is they nerfed how fire is applied, which now affects everything that applies fire, not just the Coyote. And then on top of it, they did a follow-up stream at some point when they were playing again around, and they were just kind of goofing around and talking about stuff. Well, one of the developers admitted that there was a big internal discussion that they didn't like that the Coyote could set stuff on fire in a single shot, so they had to do something basically about it. So you made a change that was not a direct change to the Coyote with the intent to nerf and change how the Coyote functions. Lie to your player base to their face by acting like it was so insulting that people would assume that they would change the Coyote, when you did change the Coyote on purpose and then didn't tell people that's why you did it. The base would have been completely fine with you saying, hey, the Coyote can do X, Y, and Z. We don't think the Coyote should do that. And so we're going to change this because of that. We're going to leave everything else alone. And just take in the licks for people being upset about that. That's not what you did. You lied. You lied to your community what you did and why you did it. And then it turns into okay, so how are we going to believe you on any other patch you do? How are we going to listen to you on not messing up the things that we enjoy or changing or offering us the things we like? And so, yeah, that. Long-winded to say, they lied.
Nerfing the Coyote, yeah.
I mean, and again, if you didn't like how it played and you had a problem with the implementation of it and you thought it was too powerful because of how easy it was if you were inclined to play it that way, then just say that. Just say that. We overtuned it. That's our bad. We did not intend for it to be this way. We appreciate you guys like it because it's a war bond weapon. It's from a war bond. So you take something that people put money into or time to farm, and then now it's weaker than it was to start with. Of course people are going to be mad. It's just I don't know. Anybody else got anything to say on that one, or am I just ranting?
I didn't notice that they changed it, but I am not like.
Well, you didn't play with the Coyote in that specific way.
Right.
So, yeah. But it just makes people go, okay, so you offer weapon customization, and as you were saying, it seems skeletal. It seems very weak and underbaked. So you don't necessarily engage with it. Well, you don't offer underbarrel attachments that are weapons because you put a grenade launcher underbarrel weapon in a war bond, and then you did a fire underbarrel weapon in a different war bond. So there's 2 different war bonds that they put out, and now the idea of doing underbarrel weapons is basically gone for customization because you put it in war bonds. Same with silencers. You did whole weapons that have silencers on it. So now if you did do the attachment of silencers, now those war bonds are useless to people that they paid money for, potentially.
Right.
Which is what people are afraid of what's going to happen. You're going to put mechs in a war bond, and instead of us getting customization of mechs, which they said is going to come down later. Okay, when? People have been asking for customization for mechs for a long time now. Right. And you say you're going to do it later. Cool, right? Well, does that mean in this next patch again, it goes back to the thing we talked about.
Communication.
You don't fix a problem that people have until you have a thing you want to sell us, right?
Mhm.
So,
And I always wondered, and this is just, conspiracy theory, is it because of the higher ups of whoever, the big muckety mucks want to make the money and so they force them to do that?
I
Or
mean,
is it just kind of a greed situation? Or like why do they do that? You know what I mean?
we know things like that from like other games. There was an interview with the guy that was in charge of World of Warcraft and for Blizzard, who was brought into someone's office and was told that, hey, this game, whatever that game was or whatever the thing was, needs to, I think it was World of Warcraft, and maybe it was a different game. It was like Heroes of the Storm or something. I don't freaking know for sure. But he was on a podcast and he basically said that higher ups, someone in a higher up position, brought him into office, said, this game needs to make X number of money per, have this many players, make this X amount of money per month. If not, we're going to lay off 1,000 people and it's going to be your fault. And so,
I think I remember that.
yeah, you bring a CFO or a COO or anybody or CEO into an office and tell them something like that. One, their asshole's going to pucker, and then two, they're going to do whatever the hell it is they have to do to make that happen. And that could be pissing their player base off. And this is part of why people are like, dude, you guys are better than this. Like, Pilestad's on record of saying you have to earn your right to monetize. Okay, yeah, you were doing that in the beginning, but are you now? So back to the campaign discussion, like kind of that we were bringing into it. Or before we do that, anything you want to add to it? I kind of run on a tangent for a while there.
No, there's nothing to add. No.
Okay. And so in the campaign part, the last campaign in major order that gave a reward to something was like May of last year. Or something like, I think that's when it was. It's been like a while since any stratagem or anything of that nature was given to the player base by completing major orders. And so what incentive for me as a player, outside of like, oh cool, I want to go engage with this because it's new and shiny, like the lava planets, going fighting the cyborgs, the Muay Thai,
which were awesome, by the way.
Yeah, which are fun. But they're fun. They're great. I liked the bug planet. Like, you don't like it, but I like the bug planet. I like going into the caves and feeling like I'm splunking to find some freaking aliens and fight them and stuff like that. I don't like that the pods dropping inside those little holes in the ceiling are really bad. And so it makes it difficult to, like, it caused a whole bunch of problems with like drop pods and stuff like that. So like we're kind of in this situation now where we can't steer our pods correctly, probably because of that update where they added that in there. I don't know for sure.
You get thrown in way far away kind of thing.
Just getting weird spots and stuff. And it's probably because of that update. But it takes like a new shiny thing. Like, we didn't care about the Illuminate until they did like the Mindless Horde and the Adjudicator things or whatever they're called, or because we generally don't like the Illuminate. But those updates that they did were interesting enough that we were like, cool, let's go see these new enemies and this new situation going on. And when we did, we were like, oh cool, it's actually halfway decent. And
yeah, the new structures and stuff are really cool.
The new structures are cool. The new, like, all of that stuff is pretty neat. But like, in general, I don't like the Illuminate, and so I wouldn't have engaged with them at all if it wasn't for that. But why does it? And then generally speaking, I don't want to engage with the major order because it's not interesting. It's just not interesting.
There's no real reward for doing it. So
well, it's not even. I don't even want to say that there has to be a reward for it. I can't organize. I can't be like, hey, we're in game, we're gonna like go to this planet because there's a call for help, and there's like, guild, or call up guilds or whatever you want to call them, platoons, whatever you want to call them, it doesn't matter. This platoon or this group is over there fighting on this planet. Let's go augment them and help them out. And there's a visualized way of engaging with the major order because sometimes the planet they want you to take is the planet you have to go down to and fight. But there are other times when like the surrounding planets are easier to take that have a direct link to it. So if we take out the surrounding planets, they don't have a direct attack link, and so then we could cut them off at the pass and then take over the planet because we cut them off at the pass, because it changes like the ratio of their assault. But because we
that's
have
not
no
something we
way
can't
of
do.
communicating,
Yeah.
we don't know that we can do that necessarily, because not everybody looks at the map and sees the routes and how things work. And so there's no general way for the player base to organize, which is completely backward from any military operation that would happen.
Right.
And so it's silly to me that, and then you get like this whole like us against them mentality within the community. Oh, well, you didn't go to Cyberstan, you were fighting on the bugs. Well, what they should be doing is, there are people that don't like fighting bots, there's people that don't like fighting the Luminants, there's people that don't like fighting the bugs, and there's people that will only fight one faction the entire time. So make them fighting that. You're doing a three-pronged war at all times. Just because you're focusing on one enemy does not mean the other ones are silent and doing nothing. But the way this campaign happens, that's exactly what happens. And so you don't have the ability for people to go fight the faction they want to fight or enjoy fighting, that actually lets them engage with the game in the manner that they like and still feel like they're benefiting. They feel like they're a crutch. They feel like they're taking away from stuff, which is part of what happened with that Cyberstan assault, is they had this overarching amount of lives that they had to throw into that fight. But anybody that died in the entire galaxy, regardless of where you were at, affected that total. So then it became like, well, you're not going to Cyberstan, so you're a problem. It's like, well, maybe this whole campaign should have been reevaluated on a mechanical level, So I don't know. It's just so silly to me. But having rewards just motivates people.
Well, speaking of rewards, the same guy I mentioned earlier was also talking about improving level progressions. He was saying that once you reach level 50, you've unlocked pretty much everything that's not a war bond, and the rest of the levels offer nothing but like titles. And I'm reading his Reddit post right now. Your level number is going up. He suggests a proposition to add a token to unlock a war bond every 50 levels, a total of 3 earned war bonds, and sample rewards every 10 levels. Would greatly improve and increase player retention. And then also, based on that, we go into the whole sample idea, where there are so many people that are maxed out on their samples and there's nothing to do with them. Like, what do you do with them? And he also was saying that we're long overdue for new ship modules. It's been over a year since we've had any new upgrades. And so the response to that, let me get over to what he said. Philstat said, the war bond token as a level reward is an interesting idea, and he was going to run it by the team. And the samples, he said, yes, I'm a bit ashamed that we do not have more sample uses. So, I mean, I feel like he hears us at least, but like, how much control does he really have? You know what I mean?
Well, he's the CCO. He has a pretty decent amount of control. He should anyway.
Yeah.
But the point being is, why did it take this long? Why did it take this conversation for people to realize this? People have been saying this for
Maybe it was a
over a
breaking
year.
point, though. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there was a last straw somewhere that we don't know, where he was like, okay, I finally hear them. Let's do this question and answer, and maybe it is going to improve. And, I wanted to talk about his final message, which I really liked.
Do you got anything else to add to it?
No.
Okay. Go ahead. All right, go ahead with his final message.
He said thank you, and he says he shares our frustration. he saw the disappointments and criticisms and mistrust in the subreddits, and he said it got to him. He wanted to get a better sense and understanding for what was at the heart of it. So, like I said, maybe that was like the last straw. A lot of points you have made are fair. Some are very painful to read, but I know that it comes from a group of players that care deeply about the Helldivers and wants it to remain special. And then he goes on to say, you want to deepen the game. Old systems, gears, progressions, and resources, and the Galactic War need more attention, is what I'm hearing you say. You want more meaningful resources to keep playing beyond what the next war bond, and you want underused equipment to have purpose, long term progression, and feel worthwhile, and community actions result in memorable moments again. Which is great that he's kind of reiterating what he's taking from what other people have said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His action plan this week is to talk to the direction team about how we can align more with the expectations that you have on the development of Helldivers. And he did a big takeaway that you want them to communicate better. That means accurate patch notes, transparency about priorities, more accurate known issues, and less reliance on me or someone from Arrowhead randomly jumping in to figure things out like this. When our community fails, you guys fill in the blanks. And right now, many of those blanks are being filled with mistrust, and that's on us. So he is taking a little bit of accountability, which is really nice. Another action point he made is we'll report back once every other week, starting this week, with where we are and what our thoughts are on how we're going to move forward. And he says, I can't promise every specific request in this thread. I can't promise instant solutions, but Helldivers 2 is a large, complicated game, and some of these issues are genuinely difficult, but that's not an excuse for standing still. There's a lot of work that is in progress, and we will see the fruits of that in the coming weeks, months, and year. So I really do like that. He kinda I f I feel like he listened, but, is it gonna come down to, is it just smoke and mirrors, or did they really take something from this? Did they listen to their community? Because so many times I see, "Oh, yeah, yeah, we're gonna listen, we're gonna change, we're gonna do that," but, like, words are pretty, sure, but action speaks so much louder, you know? So we'll
Yeah.
see.
I'll let you jump in if you have anything to say on it before I go on my ranting.
No, I was not present for the AMA and haven't reviewed it, so I don't have anything to add.
Yeah, that's okay. Like, I think what he said is good, but I'm gonna say a but in there because
Okay.
we've heard this kind of stuff from
Before.
how many games have we interacted with where we're like, hey, the community, like 7 Days to Die is a prime example. It took them forever to listen to their community on certain things that people wanted.
Oh yeah, and what was that one game that you were playing that I never played? The Darker Dungeon or something?
Dark and Darker. Oh my
Dark and Darker,
God.
where he changed the game like 800 times. He's listening to the community. He's not listening to the community. He's listening to the
No, he
community,
never listened to the community. He had a, and this is where like Movision just drives me fucking crazy, where you have a game developer that like, oh, we have a vision for the game. Yeah, but whatever it is that you're trying to do does not match what your player base is asking you to do, and the problems that are arising from what you are doing. Like, I don't want to get in on that game because that is like it's
Sure,
a
no, that's
whole
fine.
ass
I just
thing.
wanted to kind of give an example.
But the concept is the same. I have heard developers or CEOs, whoever, say this kind of platitudes before,
Vacation.
and so I hope they're not a platitude. I hope he really does
Right.
like genuinely want stuff to change and stuff, because I mean,
Well, and only time will tell, but like it does
right.
give a little bit of hope, at least in my eyes. But I mean,
Mhm.
I'm kind of a person that's very, I like to give people too many chances sometimes, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Which is, I mean, again, that's not a bad thing, and necessarily in every regard. And I hope that it's just me being, having a more pessimistic personality type, and being a little more worried that it's smoke and mirrors, and I've installed an air filter in my ass, and you can't blow smoke up it anymore.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that I'm just a little worried over nothing. But it's real hard to, hear that and go, well, then why weren't you listening for the past year when the player base is like, we don't have anything to do with our samples, right? I only have like a couple hundred hours in this game, and I already skip samples 90% of the time. And we only pick up samples when we play on our tier 6s, because we typically play, lower than tier 6 on a regular basis, because we don't want to, like, we're not here to, like, be crazy gamers. We're here to just blow stuff up, have fun. Like, I had a bad week or a bad day at work, and I just want to blow up some shit in a video game to relax. That's what we do, right? And so we hear this stuff and we go, okay, well, why did it take you this long? That's what I say.
I just threw 5 thermites on a Hulk and he didn't go down.
Did you actually land them on him? You weren't having
I mean, I tried to, but my thermites have been flying over stuff. I don't know why. And it's the normal, I don't know. I can't take him down. And I'm like, I'm shooting grenades at him. I don't know. I'm completely out of grenades now. I don't understand. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
You're fine. But, like, I don't know. It's just one of those things, like, I hope it's not a hollow platitude is all it is. I hope it's a genuine, okay, he went to the Reddit that was the most, I mean, dude, brazen balls on him. I'll give him that. He walked into the lion's den. Like, the unfiltered subreddit is not particularly nice to Arrowhead. And so I give him the kudos for going in there and asking the questions and putting his neck out there to be to get his head chopped off potentially. But if it comes back to like hollow platitudes, that in 2 weeks there's no follow-up message, there's no follow-up conversation, then people are going to go, oh, okay, well, you were just blowing smoke up our ass, fuck you then.
Right.
And which I hope is not the case of what happens. I hope it is genuinely, yep, it got to the point to where we were like, yeah, we probably should check into this, and they did, and now they're like, oh, okay, well, it was worse than we thought, and which is probably what they got, was much worse than they thought, and then hopefully positive comes out of it on the other end. I'm just hopeful. I like the game. This game's fun. No other game really.
I really like Helldivers.
Yeah, no other game plays like this game. So, and which is sad. Like, I don't understand why there hasn't been like a clone of this game or something like that. But there hasn't, and so this game has like a specific niche to it that other games don't. And
right.
It's interesting the way they've developed things. And so others, like, I'll shift to a more positive perspective, which is, why did I press that button and then not pick it up? Oh my goodness, what happened to you? You clipped the floor? Goodness. I'm hoping that tomorrow we load up, we see a bunch of the durability changes to the bots and bugs and whatever that were high, and way too high. They get kind of toned back down. Maybe some armor changes to the mechs and stuff. Okay, cool. Those got changed. Yeah, it sucked that it took a war bond to do it, but at least those got fixed, right? Cool. All right. If they let us bring in more than, because now there'll be 4 mechs. If they let us bring in more than 1 mech after the patch, I will be happy. Because why can't I bring in more than 1 mech? Because like they've said in like other parts of the AMA, they look at mechs and FRVs and tanks as just another stratagem. They don't look at them as anything special. So then why is it limited to 1 mech? If I can only bring in 1 mech, regardless of which type it is, why was I limited on, why couldn't I customize it in the first place? Because you already view it as like a single entity.
How cool would it be to have 2 machine guns on a friggin' mech and just go to town?
Oh yeah, that's exactly how I would run it. Because I like more bullets, more DACA is better. So yeah. I would love to just drop that Patriot exosuit in and just not have a missile on the side and just have 2 miniguns and 3,000 rounds of ammo and just lose my shit on everything. That would be so much fun. Oh my god.
Never seen a purple orc, have ya?
You haven't seen a purple orc. It's the stealthiest orc. But like, Yeah, that would be fun. That'd be great. Dude, in that email I sent you, there's a link that a guy did for mech customization, and it is so good. Like, instead of having the shield on the arm, he was talking about putting the shield on the, like, attaching it to the chest. And then all of his other upgrades that he was talking about would be like chest upgrades, like an energy shield like projects around him and stuff like that. And you have your different arms and stuff. It was a really cool. Like, I'm like, why isn't this guy employed at Arrowhead just making their models and stuff like that, and just dropping concepts on them on like what we can do for different things. Like, the community comes up with so much fun and cool stuff. I don't know why they don't just listen to us. You know, like, it's so silly. Like, but I mean, does anybody else have anything else to add, or are we just gonna?
I'm trying not to die.
Oh, okay. Or are we just gonna BS on the way out, like while we're finishing up this?
We can just BS.
So, like, I don't know. It just saddens me when I see because you know me, like, I look at a game and I go, oh, the potential for this game is so amazing, and I see where it can go and what it can do and all of the fun stuff that can be had with it. And then when I see people going in the direction that just is like entirely opposite of what everybody's asking for, I just raise my eyebrow and go, why? Like, why? Why would you do that? You know?
Well, and like I said before, there's just nuance we probably don't know anything about.
It's possible, yeah. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, good talk.
Anybody
that was fun.
Have any last minute to add before we pause out the recording and all of that stuff?
I'm hopeful for what the future brings, especially with the final message. But I'm skeptical because in the gaming community, it's often promises are made and not followed through.
Yeah, that's my fear too.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to have that for this game. You know, I don't want to be on the edge of my seat of like, because like even week, like, I mean, it's not like we play every day, but we play pretty consistently. And when that whatever was going on during the Into the Unjust and all of those crashes and all of that stuff that was happening, most of us like didn't play. We were like, we're not playing this. This is dangerous to our PC potentially, and we don't want to deal with that. And we just all kind of stepped away. And I don't want that to be like have to be the situation where and that's kind of one of the problems that they ran into. They were so lazy with their updates and their technology that they were putting into their engine that's why all that happened. It happened because they didn't streamline things. They didn't fix things. They didn't organize what they should have and made it important enough to do. And so now they're kind of reeling from that still. They're still working on what they call tech debt, where they've spaghetti coded or whatever they've done to the point that they have to constantly work on it to get it back to where it should be. And I don't want to worry about loading up one day and the game is so broken I just can't play it like forever. You know?
Right.
And I want to like load it up and be like, okay, well, this patch, it's just another fix of all these bugs. It's not a patch that like offers something cool that I can actually engage with, sink my teeth into, like customizing my mech, customizing my FRV or my tank, or like, you know, customizing my ship. Like on the last video we did where we talked about, well, what if we had different potential dreadnoughts, like or like not different dreadnoughts, like different super destroyers that you could do. That would be so much fun. Or a different game mode that was like a roguelike that you go from one map to another and you only get to bring something small at the beginning and then you have to like kind of collect the things you're going to do on the way. You know, like none of those things require any new assets. They can just use what they already have for that kind of stuff. And so it's just, I don't know, it's just silly to me that the player base can come up with these ideas and they're just out of hand discarded kind of thing.
Yeah.
At least that's what it feels like. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not what's happening. So, I don't know. Anyway. No. I feel like we had a good conversation. Anybody else want to add any last minute thoughts or anything? Or
And, you know, everyone has their own opinions, which is fine. It's just, don't know. I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
And hopefully you get to keep playing this game because I really like it.
That's true. I like it
And
too.
thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We will see you again soon.